Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Tommi. I'm VP of Product here.
Awesome. So, hey, thanks for joining us today. What we want to cover is giving you a quick overview of some of the great new work that we've been doing at Sema4. We'll cover our Team Edition and our Enterprise Edition, what they are, how they work. We'll do some demos along the way as well. So here's our agenda for today. We want to give you just kind of a quick overview of kind of who we are at Sema4, why we feel like our agents are safe and what that really means. And then we'll go through each edition in detail with some demos sprinkled in, and then we'll make sure we have time for Q&A at the end so we can answer your questions. So let's start with number one, kind of what's our approach? How do we kind of see what it takes to be able to build effective enterprise AI agents at scale? And for us, it's really three things. Number one is we want to make sure that the people who know the business process best, the people who are doing that work today, they understand the workflow, they understand the data, they understand their documents. We want to put them in the driver's seat and make sure that they have everything that they need to be able to build powerful AI agents that automate the work that they're doing. One of the big unlocks for being able to do that is our natural language runbooks. These are a plain text description of this is what the agent needs to do. This is the work it needs to perform step by step. Number two is any meaningful task or piece of work requires really great access to enterprise data sources. It could be Snowflake, it could be MySQL, Postgres, Redshift, systems of record for enterprise data. In addition to things like documents, emails, data, all that is required to make sure that the agent has all the grounded data that it needs to be able to make really good decisions. So data-driven accuracy is number two. And number three is agents need to be able to take action. They can't just help you perform analysis, uncover specific insights. They actually need to be able to affect systems. They need to be able to create opportunities in Salesforce, create Zendesk tickets, interact with SAP. They need to do things. They need to integrate with the enterprise applications that you're using today in your ecosystem. As we look at the overall market, our focus is really enabling those business users who are doing that knowledge work today to have the tools they need to be able to build effective agents to automate their work. We're not focused on just enabling kind of bottoms-up developers that only think in Python to be able to be effective. We're also not focused on individual, kind of vertical specific customer service, or, an SE in a box, type of solutions. And we're not focusing on just extending an existing ecosystem. We're really focused on building a horizontal platform that enables business users to be able to build effective enterprise AI agents at scale. One of the key frameworks that enables that is our SAFE framework. And what that means to us is agents have to be secure and governed. So we have our control room that enables you to basically manage the entire end-to-end lifecycle of the agent, integrating it with your single sign-on, your enterprise standard LLMs, managing configuration, and all the security integrations that are required to ensure that agent has what it needs to be able to integrate directly with it. Number two is it has to be
Are we losing Paul? I think we were losing Paul's sound at least.
that you're
Give Paul a second to get back. Oh, he's here.
Sorry. Can you guys see me and see me?
Now we can.
All right. Yeah, I think my camera was on the front, so my bad. So what I want to cover next is, kind of what are the major platform components, what makes all this possible. So we're going to talk about 5 things. Number one is Studio. Studio is our downloadable for Windows and Mac OS. It is what you use on your local desktop, people to build, test, validate agents, right? It's everything you need all in a box for your local machine. Number two is the Action Gallery. Our Action Gallery enables you to be able to quickly connect to existing enterprise applications. It could be Microsoft SharePoint, Google Workspaces, SAP, Zendesk, whatever it might be. These are pre-built integrations that enable your agents to be able to take action. Data intelligence is really focused on how do we connect agents to data sources like Redshift, Snowflake, like I mentioned before, or have deep understanding of things like PDFs, emails, Word docs, etc. Our control room is where you actually go to manage the end-to-end lifecycle of agents, deploying those into your AWS or Snowflake environment, sharing them with the right business users. And lastly, Workroom is where business users go to be able to actually find, discover, and work with the agents that they have access to. As we think about people within your organization that are building agents and using agents, this kind of shows you, what are the tools that they use. So our terminology is a business process owner. This is the person who innately understands the work that the agent needs to do. They're really driving how the agent should actually function. The Python developer is focused on if there's any kind of custom integrations that that agent needs to be able to connect to data or enterprise applications. They can use our SDK to build actions to connect those agents. And then our operator is really focused on how do we manage the end-to-end lifecycle of that agent? Where should it be deployed? Who should it be shared with? And then finally, the business teams use Workroom to be able to find, discover, and work with agents that they have access to. So what we're going to do next is we're going to talk about what are the additions of our platform and kind of what's different and what can you start using today. There's two main additions. Enterprise is really focused on large-scale enterprise users and ISVs. How do we provide a platform for them to be able to build horizontal, agents that work either directly with their users or within their existing enterprise SaaS applications. Team Edition is really focused for fast and easy path for Snowflake. If you have data in Snowflake today, you want to build agents that can take action on that data. Team Edition, available in the marketplace, completely integrated with Cortex, allows you to get started really, really quickly, being able to build agents in natural language using your Snowflake data. So to dive more into Team Edition and show you what that really looks like, I'm going to pass it over to Tommi to dive right in.
Thanks, Paul. I'm going to get to demos really quick, so I only have like 2 slides before the demo, so you'll see the product in a second. Before that, I want to show you like a couple of things that what we were thinking when we had an enterprise edition and we were working on building the team edition. So what were the key principles that we applied when we started working on team edition and before launch? So first of all, we wanted really a native integration with Snowflake. We use Snowpark container services. We use all the capabilities of Cortex AI within the Snowflake ecosystem. We wanted to really build a platform that works well within that ecosystem. We also wanted to bring from the enterprise edition the full lifecycle platform. Like we have all of the tooling from building agents to running agents to managing agents, and it's all able to connect with your Snowflake data and also outside applications and data. So it's able to take action outside of the Snowflake ecosystem. And then security has obviously been one of the key principles for us from the beginning. It keeps on being one. So we wanted to make sure that your data stays secure. So all of the enterprise data you have within the Snowflake security boundary, it stays there. We don't copy it anywhere. So these were the principles from once we started. We launched the team edition at Snowflake Summit first week of June. It's available in the marketplace. What you see in a moment is actually real product. It's not in Figma, it's not in Miro, it's a real product. You're able to use it to build agents in minutes. So you can use our AI assistant called Sai to go from an idea to agent in minutes in Snowflake. You will see how you can define agents in plain English. So it's not coding, it's writing language. And you can use your data sources within Snowflake to power decisions within the agents. In addition, like there's a lot of AI happening in producing insights from the data. But we believe that it's really critical that the agent doesn't stop there. The agent is able to take action. So that's why we bring in our action gallery, pre-built actions that allows the agents to interact with enterprise applications that you have in your IT ecosystem. In addition, you're able to create custom integrations with our SDK. All this is secured by the Snowflake security boundary. It all stays within Snowflake. And finally, you'll see all right, I'm back. I think my browser just went completely blank for a second. I was talking about powered by Cortex AI. So we leverage all of the Cortex AI services, including the LLMs and other services that you might have built within your Snowflake ecosystem, such as Cortex Search and Analyst. But okay, thanks, Mick, for confirming that all is good. That's really great. So on to the demo. So Paul, would you mind stop sharing the slides? I think that's why I had a problem. So I will just jump into the product. I'm starting from the workroom. So Paul explained the components of the product already, like the basic pillars of the product. What you see today and now is the workroom. So this is where business users come to work with the agents. First of all, you see some of the agents that we actually use. So you see our PRD helper, you see our marketing agent, you see our personal assistant, CV review, and Paul in a box. This is when Paul was on holiday, so answering all Paul questions. So these are the actual agents that we do use. I'm showing you the demo with personal assistant first. And what you will see is that the agents are able to interact with services like Google Docs and Google Drive and email. And we support OAuth, which means that you authenticate with your own credentials. So I have not done the authentication yet, so I'm just connecting the agent to my Google services, and it's done. So I can see that the permissions are okay. This is a personal assistant agent that helps us in our daily tasks. So I can ask questions like, how's my today? The agent goes, looks at my calendar, and comes back with a list of meetings and events that I have today. We obviously have the webinar today, so I want to maybe get a little bit more information about the webinar. So let's say, let's get the plan that we had in place for the webinar. It goes to my Google Drive, summarizes the document for me, and gives a summary. While it's working, looks like we are actually on track. I can also ask questions like, get some recent news about Snowflake and Sema4.ai. Goes over to Google to search for accurate and up-to-date information. So this, I wanted to show this first because this demonstrates that the agent is not just bounded within the Snowflake and the data that is that you have in Snowflake. It's able to act outside of Snowflake and work with the services that you have out there. Another agent that I want to show you is not one that we use actively. It's a demo. It's a call center planner. So this one, again, it uses Google because it connects to my Google Docs. Let's just authorize it. But this agent has access to Snowflake Cortex Search, and this is for text search within like a RAG style unstructured data search. And my data set is call center transcripts, long transcripts of call center calls between the agent and the caller, long texts. Another one that I have here is Cortex Analyst, and the Cortex Analyst is a natural language to SQL structured data query engine from Snowflake. So I've configured those into my agent, and I'm able to ask questions, really complex questions actually, like, for example, I want to improve a training script for our call center. I want to identify patterns that have led to high satisfaction or closed cases, and then propose changes to the document. I have a training document in the background. I'm just referring to it. And what the agent is able to do is that it will take multiple steps and use the tools in a sequence. For example, first looking at the document, of course, but then it goes to Cortex Search to find things that are related to, well, I think in this case, it will probably first go to look for high satisfaction cases. And then it will look like what type of patterns that it finds from those cases, from those calls. So it goes to Cortex Search. It makes a failure, but then it goes and tries again. So it also tries to seek for ways that it will get the information that it really needs. So you can see that the first search to Cortex Search failed, the second one didn't. It goes and fixes the issues if anything arises. And now it has a lot of the calls already found. And now I started working on improving the script that was in the Google Doc that I provided in the beginning. And now obviously I can go on and I could ask it to improve the document, save them back to the doc, but we will leave that for the next demo. Let's switch back to slides. Thanks. So what we were just looking at with the call center planner agent, it was like a multi-step dialogue between the business user and data. And it leveraged Cortex Analyst from Snowflake. It leveraged Cortex Search also from Snowflake, configured to agent, and it has also the access to the raw database contents and like database schemas and tables. The user makes a query, the agent decides the best course of action. It's not pre-programmed. So there was nothing like set that, hey, go in this order, but it basically finds the best way of answering user's specific question using the tools and coming back with the answer. And then, of course, can go outside of the Snowflake boundary by, for example, retrieving information from Google Docs, writing to Google Docs or Sheets, or interacting with the enterprise applications. Now, how do we build these agents? I showed you a ready-made agent in the beginning. I didn't go into details of how is the agent made. I will show you a demo of that too in a moment. But before that, let's talk about runbooks for a moment. So the runbook is the heart of the agent that basically determines how does the agent work, what type of work it does, what is the objective, where does it how does it do its work. It's written in English. It's a document. It looks like almost like a Google document, and it's really aimed for the business owners to be able to take complete control over how the agent is defined and how it's improved. And it focuses on the work that the agent does. So these agents that you saw, they were not coded, they were written. The second key pillar of the agent building experience is Action Gallery. So we provide a set of pre-made, pre-built connectors to various tools, like you saw Google Drive here, Google Docs. There's plenty of connectors to Microsoft services, Salesforce, and others. And you can always pick the connector, configure, and your agent is ready to go. On top of that, you can also build custom connectors. Handing over to Paul for that.
Yeah, thanks, Tommi. Yeah, so one of the things that we see with all of our customers is they have custom enterprise applications that probably only exist, within their four walls. And so we want to make it really easy for customers to be able to build custom integrations between agents and the different enterprise apps that they have, a custom ERP, or it could be, a custom finance system, whatever they need to integrate with, we can do that with our SDK. So it's distributed as a set of VS Code extensions. You can use that with Microsoft VS Code. You can use it with Cursor, with Windsurfer, depending on your IDE of choice. And we have a built-in Python-based automation as code framework that makes it really easy to use just Python to be able to build really powerful integrations that connect your agents to the rest of your enterprise. And all this is built into our security framework. So things like secrets, credentials, APIs are all completely managed by Control Room, and you can integrate directly with our SDK to do that. The other thing is data, like we had mentioned before. In order for agents to make really solid decisions, they need access to the data that you're using today. With our Snowflake solution, it's really simple to connect to Snowflake, but a lot of customers have data that exists outside of just Snowflake. And so our dynamic data access provides zero copy access to a lot of common different data sources. It could be Timescale, MySQL, Postgres. We can even mount Excel files and CSVs, as data sources that the agents can use to be able to run queries, perform analytics over, et cetera. So we want to make it as simple as possible to connect to the apps and data that exist within your enterprise today. And now I'll pass it back to Tommi to talk about, what does this kind of agent construction process look like? What do you do where, and show you how that works.
Great, thanks, Paul. So let's kind of recap on the overall architecture of the team edition. We already spoke about the control room and the workroom, and you saw workroom in real life. Around workroom and control room, there's also an admin view. Then the admin view is that's also within Snowflake. It runs in Snowpark Container Services, and that's only aimed for the Snowflake administrators to manage the services which run in Snowflake. All this comes from Snowflake Marketplace as a native application. So it's really a one-click or a couple of clicks deployment from Marketplace to get the application installed. In fact, we've heard from some of the first users since Snowflake Summit that it is really easy to get our application through, for example, InfoSec reviews, because everything runs within Snowflake and there's no copy of data, there's no access outside. Then in addition, the agent build experience happens on your own laptop. So Sema4.ai Studio and SDK are installable applications, Mac and Windows supported, and they run on your own computer. And what is really nice is that the Sema4.ai Studio links directly to the Snowflake account, which means that the access to data, the ability to publish agents is all built-in features with just a single click within our platform. Let's go back to demos. So I will share my screen and I will have Snowflake first. So you're looking at the Snowflake account. That's our test account currently. And I'm in the marketplace. You will find Sema4.ai Team Edition application in the marketplace. Search for agents or search for Sema4.ai. And once in the marketplace listing, you're currently able to request the application. We approve, and you're good to go. I have already installed the application here. It's this one. And once I go into the application, you will see an admin view. So this is the Streamlit admin view that is not meant for the end users, business users to interact with. It's merely for the administrator to find out that the control room is running, workroom is running, and see status of various services within your Snowflake and Snowpark Container Services. It also gives you a view of the system logs and shows what type of external integration, so external network access is required by the agents that the service runs. These endpoints here are the direct links to both control room and the workroom. And I'm going to start from control room. So just jump in there. Let's go here first. So when you land into Sema4.ai control room, you will first see that this gallery of agents are the ones that the team is building. So Studio agent building, publish over to control room, they become available for any operator to deploy the agents. And you will see things like version numbers here. You can see how many actions each of the agents has. These are key functionality in managing the full life cycle of agents. It's not just build one agent and deploy and hope for the best, but it's really managing the AI agents in enterprise production grade. So I will show you a couple of deployed agents. So these were the ones that you saw in the workroom. So we have 8 agents running. We were looking at the call center planner. And you can see, for example, that it has a new version available. So a developer agent builder in their studio has worked on a new version, published it into control room, but it has not been deployed yet over to production. And you can use methods like, for example, having a separate agent deployment for testing, or maybe some early adopter group that you can test the new versions with, keep the bulk of your business users in a stable version of your agents. Other things in control room that are important, for example, secrets management. So you can manage shared secrets like API keys and whatnot, all in control room. Similarly, you can manage the connections to the LLMs. By default in Snowflake and Team Edition, we utilize Cortex AI LLMs, but you can also use the other ones like OpenAI, Bedrock, and so forth. And then we have configurations like OAuth clients and data connections and other integrations such as Langsmith and OpenTelemetry collectors. So this is where the operator manages the fleet of agents that the business users are able to use. Now one step backwards, which is building agents. So you're able to download the studio from here, Mac OS Windows. I just downloaded it. Obviously, I have one running, so I'm going to flip over to that screen. Just a second. Window Studio. Now you're looking at Sema4.ai Studio. When you land to Studio, you can first see that we have a couple of template agents that you can really quickly start using and testing and like get going quickly with the platform. You can also build your own agent, or you can use Sai, which is still in preview, but it's basically an AI helper that gets you from idea to agent as quick as possible. Let's use the same call center planner agent here that we already used in Workroom. You will see that you are able to interact with your agent right in Studio, so you're able to test it exactly the way it will work later on in the Workroom. I have had one test going on here. I can start new threads. On the side panel, you will see all the configurations of the agent, and you can go and edit all the details. What I really wanted to show here is the runbook editor. So the runbook of the agent for the call center planner is this amount of text. It does describe that what's my data context. It briefly describes the services that it's able to use and in which kind of steps or workflow the agent is operating. So that's all it took to create that particular agent. Then you have the actions configuration. So I could go into editing agent, go add more actions, and you can leverage the inventory of pre-built actions from Sema4.ai, build your own, and as a latest feature coming out very soon, you can also utilize MCP servers within agents. That is all with building and managing agents. So Studio for building, Control Room for managing them, and finally Workroom for business users to interact and use agents. And now handing over back to Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Tommi. So I think one of the things I wanted to kind of go through, we'll take a quick pause, and I want to make sure that we can answer the questions that you have around Team Edition before we jump into Enterprise Edition. So here on the screen, we've got a QR code. We also have in our docs a link to our page to be able to actually go to the marketplace and request access. But I definitely want to pause and ask people to throw questions they might have in Q&A, and we'll get to those. We'll also cover a bunch of questions at the end. So if you don't get your question answered now, we'll make sure we have time at the end. The first question that we have is actually from Diego. And the question is, actually, I think I might just be able to put up on the screen here, is does it support multi-tenancy for integrating with SaaS software? Team Edition is a single tenant offering, so it works directly within your Snowflake marketplace, within your Snowflake account, I should say. The next thing that we'll be talking about is Enterprise Edition, which does support multi-tenancy. We'll be talking about how we handle multiple organizations, multiple workspaces, logical and physical isolation of agents within each of those. So Diego, it's a no for multi-tenancy on Team Edition, but yes in Enterprise Edition, and we'll cover that in just a little bit. Any other questions from folks? Feel free to throw them in the Q&A, otherwise we'll keep rocking and rolling. All right, sounds good. We will keep going. So what I want to cover next is, what are some of the new things that we've released in Enterprise Edition? And we'll focus on kind of what's different. Tommi did a great job walking through each of the major components, from Studio to Control Room to Workroom. But I want to cover kind of what's different with our Enterprise Edition. So Enterprise is really focused on large-scale enterprise users and ISVs, people that are building agents directly within their existing applications. What's majorly different is Enterprise actually runs in your AWS VPC. So we have Control Room that's hosted, give you kind of like a bird's eye view of all your different installs, but then you can have multiple different instances deployed directly in your AWS virtual private cloud. So you have full control over the infrastructure that your agents run on directly within your AWS account. We also support a wide array of different LLMs. Most of our customers have either like one or two blessed LLMs that they are allowed to use as the enterprise standard. So we can support using Claude on Amazon Bedrock, OpenAI with Microsoft Azure, or integrating directly with OpenAI directly. We also support another set of agents. So Tommi showed you conversational agents. These are things that you kind of work with back and forth, have a conversation with to help you get work done. Worker agents are autonomous. They're triggered by events. Those are only available on enterprise, and I'll cover exactly what they do and why they're useful. Lastly, we've got document intelligence and our agent API. One of the major use cases that we see a lot of our larger customers deploying first are automating end-to-end business processes that start with a document. It could be a payment remittance, it could be an invoice, it could be a set of container shipping information. But that document is what the person that's doing the work today has to go through, spending anywhere from minutes to hours to then go through all the different steps to complete that business process. So document intelligence is our kind of unique capability for really giving agents a deep understanding of unstructured data, PDFs, Word docs, emails, images, things of that nature. And then the last thing is our agent API. So this is really focused on once you build an agent, what are some of the different ways that you can make it available to your users? Our agent API allows you to build agents directly into your existing applications or custom UIs that you're developing for your users. So next, I want to kind of cover, what are some of the core components of Enterprise Edition and how do we help enterprises deploy that? What does the traditional enterprise deployment look like? And we'll answer Diego's question along the way. So within enterprise, we have a concept of an organization. So when you sign up, it could be Acme Incorporated, right? You get your organization. We have a shared agent gallery. We also have a shared action gallery. A lot of the custom applications that you need agents to integrate with are common amongst multiple agents. So we have a shared gallery of actions that allow you to build actions once, share with the rest of your organization, different teams. What we commonly see with large-scale deployments is the need to be able to isolate these agents to individual business units. And this is Diego where that multi-tenancy kind of comes in. So you can have a sandbox area that you would have for multiple people to kind of be able to play, deploy agents into. But when it comes to like staging production, Workspaces enable you to divvy up your resources and say, hey, look, this is only for my HR team. This is only for my finance team. And these are logically isolated business units between each other. And the last thing is like, where does all this run, right? I mentioned this runs in AWS. So you can have multiple different AWS accounts that are underpinned here. So you can actually have physical separation of agents as well. So what I want to do next is kind of show you what does this look like, in practice, and what are some of the key capabilities that we've just released. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to, sharing my screen. It might take me just a little while to get there. Let's see here. Okay. Hopefully y'all can see my screen. So this is Control Room. This is our Enterprise Edition. The big thing that you'll see that's different is this concept of workspaces. So I have like a sandbox workspace. That's kind of a free-for-all. I have sales, product, and marketing. And then this is where I can deploy agents to. So when I deploy my agents, I choose, hey, which workspace should I deploy this agent to? And I can authorize users for each one of those workspaces. Additionally, we have our secrets and configuration. So Tommi had showed you kind of what these are and what they mean, but this allows you in an enterprise context to be able to centrally manage the approved LLMs, the approved OAuth providers or clients, and even curate a set of actions that you want to make sure that every one of your users has in their action gallery so they can use and reuse it. The same goes for data connections. If you have common enterprise, it could be your production MySQL or a staging Postgres or whatever it might be, you can configure these things once, and then whenever your user community actually downloads Studio, they can just go to settings and they can link their Studio instance to Control Room. And when they do that, we'll automatically actually pull down all the different LM configurations, the different OAuth clients, all the different data connections, and even all the secrets. So this provides a really easy way for you to be able to centrally manage all the configuration that's required for your teams to be able to build agents. You might be wondering like, okay, this is great, but can I control, who has it, where these should be shared, right? And the answer is, yeah, you do. So when you go into each one of these configurations, you can choose if it should be just Control Room. I mean, this might be like a production credential. You only want agents that are deployed in production to use. Or you can choose Control Room in Studio. That means that this config will automatically flow down. You can also sub-select and say, I only want marketing. This is marketing's, OpenAI key. So when we're worrying about, who's actually, spiking our LLM bill, it's marketing's fault, for example. You can just isolate just to an individual business unit. And you can do that for all the different configuration that we have within Control Room. You can identify who should be shared with. So this is just a kind of a quick overview of workspaces, why they're important, and our Control Room and configuration syncing that we recently released. So this is something that a lot of our large-scale customers really enjoy. The next thing I want to cover is, what are some of the additional things that you can do in enterprise? the one thing that we see is every customer already has an observability solution. It could be Datadog, it could be Splunk. So we've implemented OpenTelemetry. You can pipe all the different kind of exhaust that comes out for your agents directly to your existing OTel provider. We also integrate with Langsmith directly. So if you want to be able to port all the different Langsmith traces directly from our agents to your deployment centrally, we support that too. The next thing is document intelligence. Like I mentioned, being able to have high quality access to data is critical, and especially being able to tap into unstructured data. Things like payment remittances, order processes, receipts, whatever it might be. A lot of times you want to automate an end-to-end business process that starts with a document, and we have a built-in document intelligence solution that allows business users to configure it. We use the latest and greatest multimodal AI to improve our accuracy, and then we can support a wide array of different file formats, from Word documents to PDFs and images. The last thing I want to cover is our agent API. So this is what a lot of our ISV customers use to be able to build their agents directly into their existing applications. So we have a RESTful API that allows you to programmatically access agents, create conversations, either stream or do synchronous or async messages, and build any of your agents directly into your enterprise application. It also has workspace isolation authorization. So you can basically have individual API keys that are scoped to individual workspaces. Above and beyond our agent API, we also support being able to embed your agents directly into things like Slack and Teams. So any of your agents, you can just click on the channels button within Control Room and quickly connect that to your existing Microsoft Teams environment or Slack, enabling agents to be able to kind of meet your business users, where they do their work today. So I want to make sure that we, spent a lot of time getting to Q&A and making sure we can answer people's questions. If you want to, learn any more about the work that we're doing with Enterprise Edition, there's a link here to our white paper. You can also see that in the Docs tab. But what I think I'll do is we'll go ahead and focus on Q&A and see what questions y'all have for us.